Well, well, well. The resolution, the War Powers resolution in the House yesterday, brought up by Matt Gaetz to pull U.S. troops out of Syria, failed miserably. Only 100 and something Congress people voted in favor of the resolution. I believe over 300, it was bipartisan, overwhelmingly voted against Matt Gaetz's resolution. This is quite interesting considering that, Congress never authorized any kind of war in Syria to begin with, so it's pretty funny that Congress won't even vote for a resolution condemning an illegal war in Syria. I remember pretty vividly about 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago now, when Obama was, musing about sending troops into Syria, and Congress was pretty strong in telling him no. They said, no, Barack, we are not going to do that. That's not okay. And I think that Congress back then even passed a resolution, condemning the idea of a war in Syria, and that seemed like the end of it. But as we all know, the U.S. just ran a secret war against Syria for many, many years, and now the war has been out in the open for, close to 6 years, I'd say. It's been officially recognized, yeah, the U.S. is at war in Syria. And so now Matt Gaetz says, hey, remember that war in Syria that we voted, a decade ago to not approve and to, in fact, condemn? Why don't we actually, it seems that the president went around us and put those troops in there anyway. We need to tell him to get those troops out. And Congress says, no, we actually like it. And so even on something so minor, something that should be such an easy yes vote, Congress just can't do it. Not even the House, not even the Republican-controlled House. Of course, this is not a Republican-Democrat issue. Both parties very much love wars in the Middle East. But it's just, I look at stuff like this, and it's really hard to even care about U.S. politics. It's hard to even follow it when I see something that's such a no-brainer like this. And it fails. It's like if we can't even get this through Congress, what is the point of our government? I mean, really start over. Of course, I've been in favor of that for a long time now, going on 7 years or so, I'd say, to where I got to the conclusion like, there's not really anything to be salvaged here. We really need to start over, and our current regime is not ever going to be reformed. The regime is not even willing to take baby steps in the direction of reforming its illegal, tyrannical, and genocidal ways. Hell, even in the wake of the Syrian earthquake, the U.S. is still trying to, sanction Syria and make sure that they can't get building materials. I mean, explicitly, the U.S. has said that the sanctions on Syria were put in place to prevent Syria from rebuilding after the war, because the U.S. was butthurt that ISIS got their ass kicked, and that their pet Sunni extremists did not get to create, an Al-Qaeda-affiliated super state. I mean, these people in Congress have the gall to call anyone who poses them a terrorist, yet they are on the record supporting Al-Qaeda. When you're supporting U.S. troops in Syria, that's what you're backing. Though, it's not like the Kurds are ever going to take over Syria. It's Al-Qaeda and ISIS and al-Nusra. Those are the folks who had a chance at taking over the Syrian government, overthrowing Assad, and installing a new government in Damascus. If you listen to Trump said, well, the reason why we leave the troops in Syria is so that they can make sure that we get all the oil out. Because it is true, the U.S. is occupying all of the parts of Syria that have oil. But the amount of money that the U.S. has to spend on this occupation outweighs whatever oil revenue may be generated from stealing and raping the Syria's natural resources. There's just not enough oil to pay for all of this. We don't even know how many hundreds of billions of dollars have been spent in Syria, because officially there was no war in Syria. It's all off the record, or it's all off balance sheet expenses, I guess you could say. It's a black hole just like Afghanistan, but at least with Afghanistan there was some accounting because Afghanistan was officially sanctioned by Congress, and there was an inspector general in Afghanistan who was watching and documenting to a certain extent how the money was being spent. When it comes to Syria, we've never really had any idea. We know that Trump dropped some bombs in Syria. We know that Obama was running guns to Syria through Libya. Very odd, and then the Republicans, they got a chance to expose that with the Benghazi hearings. And what did they make it all about? They made it all about theatrics. They made it about Hillary saying, what difference does it make at this point? And both sides just got to have their fun little moments yelling at each other about absolutely nothing. We're just supposed to believe that the whole Benghazi situation was just random, and there was no scandal there. It was hilarious. I mean, here you have Benghazi, this massive scandal where the Obama administration was illegally running guns through this consulate in Libya to fund and arm the Al-Qaeda in Syria. And apparently, the arms deal went bad, and some local Libyans decided to raise hell, and we just ignore all that. We just, they're treated like a force of nature, essentially. There was never any introspection as to why this happened. You know what? There was the thing of the Egyptian YouTuber who made some video depicting the Prophet Muhammad. I think that didn't they try and blame that for a while? And then I guess the Republicans wanted to say, well, no, it's because Obama's perceived as weak. Like, Obama's not tough enough, he's not funding enough wars. That's why they attacked us, at this consulate in Benghazi. So the whole thing, essentially got swept under the rug. I mean, it's really amazing. You think, how can a scandal get swept under the rug while simultaneously being this big scandal in the news? It's because they don't tell you what the scandal was actually about. That's how you make something a big scandal while also sweeping it under the rug. The Benghazi hearings were a psyop. And so we went on without much of anything being done. And so fast forward, here we are, 10 years later. Actually, we're 12 years on from the initial breakout of war in Syria, which the U.S. was a part of from the very beginning. The U.S. was backing these people from the start, but Obama wanted to put boots on the ground and make it an overt war, and that got stopped. And so the covert war has continued. 12 years. I mean, it's not as long as the war in Somalia, but I mean, God. Look at you. Odds are, since there are 300 and some Congress people who voted against this, odds are your congressman voted against this. Just look at it and ask yourself, how bad of a person does this have to be? How rotten is their soul? If you ever got a chance to talk to them, it's cliche to say, how do you sleep at night? But it's comical. I don't even get it. These people are so bad that they're not even bad in a way that helps them. They're not bad in a Machiavellian way. They're not clever like a fox. They're just evil for evil's sake. Their default position is, we love death and destruction, and how dare you even question it? These people have no fear. They have no respect for human life. Yet I guarantee you, if you called their office and hypothetically made some kind of threat. Obviously, I don't think anyone should ever do that. It's stupid, because you'll get thrown in prison. I mean, it's ironic, though. But if you called them and even threatened to endorse the kinds of actions against them that they endorse against the people of Syria and the people of all these other countries, you would be locked away in prison for a very long time. Yet these people can sign checks, billions of dollars, to fund death and destruction, and they're considered public servants. Each one of these people, they're psychopaths, they're sick, but they don't belong in an asylum. They belong either on Rikers Island or Alcatraz, whichever island prison you prefer. And so, no, I don't think that they deserve to die, because I think that's too easy. But they should be locked up like the criminal murderers that they are. So, with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.